Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Steve Drost. With me, as always, Will Kaplan. Of course, me and Will both from the Quivr team. What is Quivr? We are the CRM built by financial advisors for financial advisors, and our objective is simple. How can we help you run your business at peak efficiency? Now, each episode, we tackle a couple of cool items that came directly from our users who are trying to do just that, make their lives just a little bit easier. Will, data integrity is a term that is very, very important and near and dear to my heart. The high level explanation or definition of data integrity is I want my data to be good. Well, actually, not good. I'm OCD. I want my data to be perfect. And the irony in that is it's really challenging to accomplish that. But also, me, myself, as I enhance my data or I look at my data, there are times where I do things that contradict each other. Little things where I do something, I move somebody to a client, but then I forget to go set the segmentation. Or I mark somebody as deceased, but I still have them as an active contact, right? Like little things like that where I know Quivr inside and out. I know my practice inside and out, but I'm human. I'm human.
That's the key to it too, right? I mean, the fact that we're trying to work with the data set and in our minds, we know there's all these little strings between here's one field and here's another field, and they talk to each other or they're related to one another. You know, there's a connection there. And the ones that you mentioned are a great example. Like I'm deceased, but I'm still active. Like, nope, not anymore. Like that's just not how it works. And yet when we're interacting with the data, it's so easy to get like that just half second of distraction where it's like, well, I checked the first box, forgot to check the second box.
100%.
I've been there. I know you've been there. Like this is just one of the things that we fight all the time.
Yeah. And the example came from a user recently, actually. And they were like, look, they're a fairly large team, multi-advisor, multi-team, good sized firm. And she's like, look, like I love my advisors. They're great. And my back office is awesome. But we just have too many situations. And she actually used the deceased one as an example where if someone's marked as a deceased person, we need to make sure that they're marked as an inactive contact because that's driving our constant contact emails every week. And well, I don't know about you guys, but if you were to send an email to somebody that's deceased, at best, you have an unanswered email. At worst, you have a widow or widower who is pretty mad at you for sending their deceased spouse an email, right? So things like that, you just want to have clean. And I'm like, use the validation rule. She's like, what's that? I'm like, well, inside of Quivr and inside of Salesforce, you have the ability to say, if something happens, don't let me do this. So in about 17 seconds, we created a validation rule for her that if you try to mark a contact as deceased, there are a few things that have to or cannot happen. For one, date of death cannot be blank. So you have to enter date of death. So when you mark them as deceased, you must enter that. And obviously that's a very, very important field for inherited IRAs and honestly just records that you should know. Other things that have to happen is they must be marked as inactive and their relationship to the household cannot be client. Now, we talked about making a flow or some sort of an automation to just update some of those, but she made a really good point. Relation to household isn't always going to be the same, right? Depending on what happens. She's like, I want my advisor or my team to actually think about that. But for the most part, right, she now just created a thing where 3 fields, date of death, inactive, and relation to household cannot get messed up. If you mark somebody as deceased, those 3 things are going to be at least entered, hopefully entered correctly, but entered every single time.
And I think it's interesting you brought up the topic of flow because this really is kind of like I would describe it as a mini automation. You're not quite to the point where like I put in deceased and all of this stuff just magically happens. That to me is like full automation. This is kind of like halfway there where I'm just saying, well, hold on a second. This field has implications throughout the rest of the system. I want more data in order to let you change it. So it's kind of like it's this clever little. You get a little bit of that automation component, but it's not full automation.
Yeah. But also there's so many situations and I love automation as much as the next person, but there are so many things that people want to automate and myself included. I'm not just saying, I'm not saying I'm holier than thou, right? But there's situations where you want to automate things, but you can't. You shared a great example, Will. Let's say you move a prospect from a prospect to a client. What is the segmentation there? Now, my first thing is like, oh, well, segmentation can just be built upon the anticipated revenue, this. Well, yeah, but what if anticipated revenue is a lagging tool? Let's say they have 100 grand in an IRA today, they're retired in 2 years, and today they're a C client, but in 15 months, they're an A client. Well, what data point are you entering? So I actually would not want to automate entering client segmentation. I wouldn't want to. What I would want is a flow, or sorry, not a flow, a validation rule that tells me when I move them to a client household, these are the 4 fields I have to fill out. I have to fill out client segmentation. I have to fill out, my tags are blank. Oh shoot, I don't want tags to be blank. I want to make sure I add them birthday card, or they get coffee, they don't like coffee, they do like coffee, right? Those things that I just know that I need to fill out, right? So while automation might be the end goal, objective for everything, we just have to acknowledge that it's not necessarily possible for everything. So what's the next best step? And the next best step is manually, forcibly requiring us to manually enter the data that matters.
And I think this is a really interesting place where you can sort of almost reverse engineer it, where as you're looking at your data and you're like, okay, I'm terrible at adding client segmentation. I don't care. It's just me. I treat all my clients the same, but I know that at some point I'm going to want to run some process that maybe relies on client segmentation. And so it's something that's easy for me to forget. And so if I start with what is the field, where is the data getting dirty? Where is it getting gray and cluttered? And then I can work back like, well, when would I have updated this? This is a great way to sort of jump in and take ownership of that and say, okay, I know when I move it from a prospect to a client, there's other stuff that I'm focused on. I'm going to forget this little thing, but I want to teach myself or teach my advisory team or whoever it might be to update this field. This is a great way to do it because you're not just automating it. We talked about why that might be challenging, but you're forcing someone to acknowledge it and
Yeah.
to fill it out.
In a key word you said there, a little sentence was, if you're trying to provide information to your team, right? So I found that, when my mom first started working with me, oh man, it's been like 4 or 5 years now. But when she first started working with me, something that I really struggled with the first 6 months to a year was getting her the information that she needed. So I'm the one meeting with the prospect. She's not. I'm the one deciding what we're going to do. I'm the one building the financial plan. I'm the one doing, the planning, but I need her to help me with that stuff. Right. So what I identified was I was doing a poor job of getting her the information that she needed to support that client. Like I mentioned it earlier. What do we want to send them for a birthday gift? I do basically 2 or 3 things. If they like coffee, they get a Starbucks gift card. If they don't like coffee or they live in a small town, I do something local to them. So we'll buy, a little gift card to the local restaurant or something if they live in the middle of nowhere. But how would she know that? So I created validation rules in our onboarding module actually that require me to enter all of that information. So I can't do that. And yes, it took me a few minutes to do that, but think about it now. Do you think I get questions from her if we were to onboard a new client?
And I think this is the great part. The answer is no, because the data that she needs is there.
Yes, and I am forced to give that to her, which is great because I'm human. But validation rules, they're a great feature. I would really think about it. Yeah, and Will, I like how you said that. If you have a component of your data getting a little dirty, getting a little sloppy, validation rules can often shore that up. They're easy to do. I believe we have content in the community. If we don't, the first person that tries to do it and has a question, we will have more content in the community. So we should be good there. And also, as weird as this is, ChatGPT is awesome with this. I actually use it for validation rules. My fields are this, this, this. When I update this, I want this to happen. Tell me what formula I need to enter into my validation rule. You copy and paste that in, and 9 out of 10 times it works. If it doesn't, copy the error, paste it into ChatGPT, and it tells me what to do. So I'm able to probably create some fairly complex validation rules in a couple of minutes utilizing the free. Let me be very clear, the free version of ChatGPT. But no, this is great. I love validation rules. Again, another little thing that hopefully our current users, you guys can use these things, enhance your practice, enhance your data. Because once you have really clean data, you can do some really, really fun things with Archer in it. And then honestly, just do better work for your clients. If you're not a Quivr user, that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. But remember, it's not too late. Come schedule a demo. Come hang out with me. Come hang out with Will and see what Quivr can do for you in your practice.